Let me ask you something. Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night, grabbed your phone just to check the balance of your truck loan, and felt that cold knot in your stomach? The one that tells you you're sitting in a $20,000 hole and the ground is falling out from under you faster than you can dig? If you haven't felt that yet, I want you to listen very closely, because if you are in the market for a used truck right now, or if you bought one in the last 18 months, I can almost guarantee you that feeling is coming. And it's going to hit you like a freight train made of depreciation. So here is the question I want you to answer in the comments right now. What is the absolute worst financial mistake you've ever made on a truck? Did you buy the lifted one that rode like a lumber wagon? Did you pay 10 grand over sticker during the chip shortage panic? I want to hear the horror stories, because today we are diving into the trucks that are losing value so fast it should actually be illegal. We're talking about the models that are financial black holes. And if you are thinking about buying one of these, I need you to stop, sit down, and strap in, because I am about to save you from a mistake that could set you back for the next 5 years. We all know the old saying, a truck is an asset. It's a tool. It holds its value better than a sports car or a sedan. And for decades, that was true. You could buy a half-ton, drive it for 3 years, put 50,000 miles on it, and sell it for 80% of what you paid. It was like having a savings account you could drive through the mud. But that era? It is over. The market has flipped, and the trucks that were once the golden children of resale value are now turning into pumpkins at midnight. But here's the scary part. Most people don't realize they're holding the pumpkin until they're sitting in the finance manager's office trying to trade it in, and they get that look. You know the look. The finance manager puts on a fake, sad face, pushes a piece of paper across the desk, and says, "Well, we're a little buried here. What happened?" Well, it's a perfect storm of 3 things. Overinflated pandemic pricing, rising interest rates that have crushed the used market, and this is the one nobody talks about, manufacturers flooding the market with fleets. See, during the pandemic, they couldn't make enough trucks. Now, they're making too many. And when supply goes up and demand goes down because interest rates are at 7 or 8%, the value doesn't just drop, it falls off a cliff. Now, I want to start with the truck that is currently the poster child for this value drop. It's a truck you see everywhere. It's the one your neighbor has, the one that looks great in the Home Depot parking lot. I'm talking about the Ram 1500, specifically the higher trim models. The Laramie, the Limited, and God help you if you bought the TRX right before the prices started to normalize. Let's talk about why this is happening, because it's not just a truck losing value. There's a hidden problem here, and it's one that dealerships do not want you to know about. When you buy a Ram 1500, specifically one with the air suspension system, which is standard on the Limited and a popular option on the Laramie, you are buying a ticking time bomb for your wallet. Now, I know the ride is smooth. I know it kneels down to let you get in like it's bowing to you. It feels luxurious. But here's the industry secret. That air suspension is a consumable item. It is not a lifetime part. The air springs, the compressor, the valves, they start failing right around the time the warranty runs out. I'm talking 60, 70,000 miles. And the repair? To replace that air suspension system, you are looking at $3,000 to $5,000 at a dealership. Now imagine you're a used buyer. You see a 2019 or 2020 Ram Limited with 60,000 miles. It looks pristine. But you do a little research, or you talk to a mechanic, and you realize that you're buying a truck that is statistically about to need a $5,000 repair. What do? You walk away, or you offer way under book value. That forces the price down. That's why these trucks are sitting on used lots for months, and the prices are getting slashed by thousands of dollars every 30 days. But it gets worse. It's not just the air suspension. There's a design flaw that nobody talks about in these Rams, and it's in the electrical architecture. The Ram 1500, especially the models with the big 12-inch Uconnect screen, is notorious for electrical gremlins. We're talking about the screen delaminating, where the touchscreen bubbles up and stops working. That's a $2,000 fix because you can't just replace the screen. You have to replace the whole radio module. We're talking about the rear window frames cracking and leaking water into the cab. That's a common issue that soaks the carpet, ruins the electronics under the seats, and smells like a swamp. When a truck has a reputation for water leaks and electrical failures, the smart money stays away. And when the smart money stays away, the value plummets. Now, I want you to think about the psychology of buying a used truck. If you're shopping for a Ram 1500, you're probably looking at a Ford F-150 or a Chevy Silverado too. You're comparing. And when you realize that the Ram has a $5,000 suspension repair looming and the Ford doesn't, the Ram becomes the cheap option. But here's the trap. The cheap option up front often ends up being the expensive option in the long run. That's the mistake buyers make. They see a 2021 Ram Limited for $38,000 and think, wow, that's $4,000 less than the comparable Ford. They think they're getting a deal, but they don't realize they're just prepaying for the repairs they're going to have to do in the next 2 years. That's the hidden cost. That's why the value drops. The market has already priced in the failure. Let's move to the next truck on our list, and this one is going to hurt a lot of people's feelings. I'm talking about the Ford F-150. Now wait, hold on. Before you come for me in the comments, hear me out. I'm not saying the F-150 is a bad truck. It's the best-selling vehicle in America for a reason. It's the backbone of this country. But there is a specific segment of the F-150 market that is getting absolutely slaughtered on value right now, and it's the used hybrids, the Power Boost. The ones that were supposed to be the future. When Ford launched the hybrid F-150, they marketed it as the ultimate do-everything machine. Tons of power, great fuel economy, and a generator built in so you could tailgate or power your job site. And it sounded amazing, but here's the reality check. The used market is punishing these trucks, and there's a very specific reason why. Complexity. The average used truck buyer is terrified of complexity. When you're looking at a truck with a twin-turbo V6 and an electric motor and a battery pack and a 10-speed transmission that has had its own share of reliability concerns, the fear is real. And it's not just fear. There are real-world horror stories. I've talked to mechanics who are seeing issues with the integration between the electric motor and the transmission. These aren't simple fixes. When the hybrid system throws a code, it's not something you can fix with a wrench in your driveway. You're going to the dealership and you're waiting weeks for parts. The depreciation curve on these Power Boosts is steeper than a ski slope because the early adopters are realizing that the fuel savings don't offset the risk of a $7,000 repair out of warranty. But here's the costly mistake buyers make with the F-150 right now. It's not just the hybrid, it's the engine choice. If you are buying a used F-150, the market is punishing the 3.5-liter EcoBoost trucks harder than the 5.0-liter V8 trucks right now. Why? Long-term reliability perception. The 5.0 Coyote V8 is a legend. It's simple. It's loud. It's been around forever. The 3.5 EcoBoost, while powerful, has a history of cam phaser issues. That's the rattle you hear on startup that sounds like a diesel engine. That repair, $2 to $3 grand. The used market knows this, so when you go to sell your 3.5 EcoBoost, you are competing against the guy selling the V8, and the V8 commands a premium, so your truck is worth less. It's simple supply and demand, driven by fear. And I want to tell you a quick story to illustrate how fast this happens. A buddy of mine, a contractor, bought a 2022 F-150 Limited Power Boost in early 2023. Sticker price was $82,000. He thought he was being smart, getting the hybrid for the fuel economy on his work site. He put 30,000 miles on it in 1 year. That's higher than average, sure, but it's a work truck. He goes to trade it in on a new Super Duty 6 months ago. The dealer offered him $45,000, $82,000, down to $45,000 in about 18 months. He lost almost $40,000 in depreciation. That's over $2,000 a month. That's a mortgage payment. That's a college fund. He was upside down on his loan by almost $20,000. That, right there, is why you have to be careful. Now, if you're watching this and you're nodding your head because you've been burned before, or you're scared because you're looking at one of these trucks right now, I need you to do something for me. Hit that like button, smash it. It helps the algorithm show this video to someone else who might be about to make a $20,000 mistake. And while you're down there, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. I don't want you to be the guy sitting in the finance office with that knot in your stomach. I want you to be the guy who walks in knowing exactly what the truck is worth and why. So subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and let's keep you from getting buried. Good. Let's talk about the dark horse of depreciation. This one surprises a lot of people. The GMC Sierra. specifically the Sierra 1500 AT4 and Denali. Now on the surface, these trucks are gorgeous. They are arguably the best-looking trucks on the road. The interior is upscale. The front end looks aggressive. But here's the dirty secret. The Sierra 1500 is basically the same truck as the Chevrolet Silverado. Underneath the fancy sheet metal and the leather seats, it's the same frame, the same engines, the same transmissions. So why does the Sierra lose value faster than the Silverado? Perception and parts. The Sierra sells for a premium when it's new, the Denali trim especially. You're paying $3,000 to $5,000 more for that premium badge and the slightly nicer interior. But in the used market, that premium evaporates. The used buyer doesn't care that you paid extra for the GMC badge. They're looking at a used truck. They're comparing a 2021 Denali to a 2021 High Country, and they're seeing that the Chevy is usually a few $1,000s cheaper, and it has the exact same drive train. So the Sierra gets hit with a double whammy. It depreciates harder because it started higher, and it doesn't hold that premium on the back end. But there's a deeper issue here, and it's one of the biggest hidden problems in the truck industry right now. It's the engines, the 5.3-liter and 6.2-liter V8 engines in these GM trucks, the ones that have been the heart of the brand for years. They have a flaw. It's the Dynamic Fuel Management System, or DFM. This is the system that shuts down cylinders to save gas. And while it sounds good in theory, in practice, it has been causing catastrophic engine failures. We're talking about lifters collapsing, camshafts getting wiped out, and in some cases, engines needing full replacements at 30, 40, 50,000 miles. Now, here's the scary part for the used buyer. If you're looking at a 2021 or 2022 Sierra or Silverado, you are looking at a truck that was built during the height of the chip shortage. During that time, GM actually removed the auto stop start disable button on a lot of these trucks because of the chip shortage. But the bigger issue is that the DFM system is still there, and there is a class action lawsuit floating around regarding these engines. When a truck has a known, expensive, and catastrophic engine flaw hanging over its head, the used market punishes it. Banks are even starting to tighten lending on these models because the residual values are so unpredictable. If the bank thinks it's risky, you're going to pay a higher interest rate, or you're not going to get the loan at all. That kills demand. And when demand dies, value drops. Now, I want to pivot to the heavy-duty segment because we can't talk about value drops without talking about the Ram 2500 and 3500, specifically the ones with the 6.4-liter Hemi. Now, if you own a Cummins diesel, you can relax for a second. The diesel trucks, especially the pre-emissions trucks, are still holding their value like gold bars. But the gas heavy-duty trucks, they are getting absolutely hammered right now. Here's the scenario. A contractor buys a Ram 2500 with the 6.4 Hemi because he doesn't want to pay the $12,000 upcharge for the Cummins diesel. He figures, it's a heavy-duty truck, it's got a solid axle, it'll do what I need. He pays $65,000 for it. He uses it for 2 years. Now he's trying to sell it. The problem is the used buyer looking for a heavy-duty truck is usually looking for a diesel. The gas truck is a niche market. It's the truck nobody really wants, so it sits on the lot. And to move it, the dealer has to drop the price. But here's the hidden killer, the fuel economy. The 6.4 Hemi gets about 10 to 12 miles per gallon in the city. With gas prices where they are, the cost of ownership is astronomical. A used buyer runs the numbers and realizes they'd rather spend more upfront on a diesel that gets better mileage and holds its value than save a few grand on a gas truck that will eat them alive in fuel and then be worth nothing when they try to sell it. But the real horror story in the heavy-duty market isn't the gas engine. It's the transmission in the Ford Super Duty. The 10-speed automatic in the Ford F-250 and F-350, especially the ones mated to the 7.3-liter Godzilla gas engine, has had a rough go of it. There are reports of harsh shifting, clunking, and in some cases, complete transmission failures. Now, a transmission replacement in a heavy-duty truck? You're looking at $8,000 to $10,000. That is the kind of repair that totals a truck if you're not careful. When that reputation spreads, the value of those specific models takes a hit. And this is where I want to hammer home the biggest costly mistake buyers make. They buy the first year of a new generation. They buy the 2021 Ford F-150 with the new hybrid system. They buy the 2020 Ram with the new air suspension. They buy the 2019 Chevy with the new DFM engine. They think they're getting the latest and greatest. But what they're actually getting is the beta test. They are paying top dollar to be the guinea pig. And then, 3 years later, when the manufacturer has quietly fixed the issues for the next model year, the first-year trucks become the ones nobody wants. They are the orphans. The value drops through the floor because the market knows that those are the problem children. So, how do you avoid this? How do you not be the guy holding the bag? It starts with research. You cannot walk onto a used car lot and just pick the truck that looks the prettiest. You have to know the specific engine, transmission, and trim level. You have to know the common failures. For example, if you're looking at a Ford F-150, I would tell you to look for a 5.0 V8 with the 6-speed transmission, not the 10-speed. It's older, it's proven, and it's reliable. That truck will hold its value better than the newer, more complicated model. If you're looking at a Ram, avoid the air suspension. Find a Bighorn or a Laramie with conventional coil springs. It rides fine, and you won't have a $5,000 repair bill hanging over your head. If you're looking at a Chevy or GMC, you need to be hyper-aware of the engine code. Look for trucks that have had the DFM system disabled via an aftermarket tuner, or look for the 3.0-liter Duramax diesel. That little diesel is actually holding its value better than the V8s right now because it doesn't have the lifter failure issue. But here's the truth that the dealerships don't want you to hear. The best way to avoid losing your shirt on depreciation right now is to buy older. I know. You want the heated steering wheel and the big screen. But the market is punishing the 2020 to 2024 models so harshly right now because they were purchased at peak pricing. If you buy a 2015 to 2018 truck, it has already taken its major depreciation hit. It's on the flat part of the curve. You might have to put up with a few more squeaks and rattles, but you aren't going to wake up and find out you lost $15,000 in value overnight. The used market is correcting. The inflated prices are deflating. And if you buy a 3-year-old truck right now that was originally sold at peak pricing, you are standing in the path of the deflation. You are going to get hit. And I want to leave you with one final thought that might keep you up tonight. It's about the electric trucks, the Ford Lightning, the Rivian R1T, the GMC Hummer EV. These trucks are currently the fastest depreciating vehicles in the automotive industry. We are seeing used Ford Lightnings that stickered for $80,000 selling for $45,000 with 10,000 miles on them. The depreciation is happening so fast that the market can't even keep up. And it's not because they're bad trucks. It's because the technology is moving so fast and the prices on new ones are dropping so fast that the used ones are obsolete before they even get sold. If you bought a Lightning 2 years ago, you are likely tens of thousands of dollars upside down on your loan. It is a financial crisis waiting to happen. So, what's the takeaway here? The truck market has changed. It's not the safe investment it used to be. You have to be smarter. You have to do your homework. You have to know the hidden problems, the design flaws, and the industry secrets. Don't be the guy who buys a truck because it looks cool in the driveway. Be the guy who buys a truck because it's going to get you from point A to point B without bankrupting you in the process. If this video saves you from making a costly mistake, or if it confirmed that you made the right call on your last purchase, do me a favor and share it with a buddy who's looking to buy a truck right now. You might be the one who saves him from that finance office panic. Don't let him be the next horror story in the comments. Now, I want to hear from you. Did I miss a truck that's losing value fast? Is there a model you think should be on this list? Let me know down in the comments. And if you want to see the next video where I break down the trucks that are actually holding their value, the hidden gems that you can still buy without losing your shirt, make sure you're subscribed and you hit that bell. Because we're going to flip the script next time and you're not going to want to miss it. The market is shifting under our feet. The trucks that were king yesterday are the ones getting crushed today. Don't get crushed. Stay smart, do your research, and I'll see you in the next one.